Our sun breathes life onto us. It too grows over time, shifting, moving, and undulating. Like the living force that it is, it stretches and jumps, contracts in and flares out. The magnetic lines that emerge from its surface show us how the sun dances, how the life of our universe has rhythm, moving around with such energy it is astounding. Small quirks to larger flares all represent a universal constant of activity that resonates around the universe. Like magnetic lines, gravitational lines operate with activity and energy. The natural forces that anchor solids, fluids, and gases to this earth are not stagnant. Rather, they undulate and vary as a result of the energies present within the bonds that make up everything around us. We tend to think of gravity as a heavy, bearing force that restricts us from moving up and away, from being freer in space. Gravitational lines do not hold weight, rather they represent a state of balance that measures the sum of the magnitudes of forces heading in different directions. Weight and heaviness are constructs, for they are not real forces themselves. The feeling of heaviness, the feeling of gravity stems from our constructed notion of the properties of the universe as they apply to the Earth. What if gravity was a feeling of lightness? What if gravitational pull gave us the sense of imbalance, instead of stasis? What if we could control how we feel as a result of gravitational pull? We know that magnetic lines are drawn to represent vectors of tension, perhaps even able to be categorized as continuous points of stasis. These vectors in equilibrium remind us that in weaker areas of force, there arises the opportunity for compromise and conversation. Within these lines exists a condition of stasis, but it is by no means stagnant. When two or more opposing forces collide and find balance, they do not cease to push. Each continues in its respective motion, remaining as such until acted upon by an external force. Thus, we can recognize that each magnetic line, each gravitational stasis, and every relation that is not instant is made up of multiple energies. Every compromise and every equilibrium is brimming with dynamism and tensions. Each of these lines is filled with multiplicity, entropy, and anxiety. Anxious lines make up our experience of the universe. Each gravitational relation is an anxious line. Our houses rest on foundations built not on stable earth, but on active and live surfaces that shift with time. We need only to shift perspectives in scale to see this. Should we expect to take up roots in one place forever? Living in stasis has proven to be feasible, yet we pacify ourselves with the promise of a forever land sometime soon. There is no such thing. Rather than ride the anxious waves, can we direct them? Can we instead navigate the anxious lines of the universe with intention and purpose? These liminal spaces defined by such dynamism and multiplicity of identity feel unresolved, and we try our hardest to move past them. What if we settled in these ideological spaces? What if we made ourselves comfortable in the in-between? What if we became nomads of globalized identity? What would happen if we decided to harness the dynamisms of entropy as fuel and not a limiting force? Would it be possible to make anxious lines our new home? Can you settle into a house built on shifting earth? We have been promised calm within the eye of the storm, and recognize that in order to reach that resolution we must navigate the dynamisms of opposing energies and tension surrounding it. We must navigate the anxious lines that construct our experience. Do you think such a peaceful eye exists beyond a gravitational line? Do you dare think it possible that the anxious nature of these lines really surrounds a core of peace and resolution? I do.